What's up, guys? Do you have a small area that you want to grow things? Do you not have enough space for your own raised beds? Well, stick around today because I've got a solution. Still no intro. Still working on it. Need more footage. It's only, video 4 now? Anyways, my name is Jesse and this is Healthy Growth. Today we're going to be looking at a space-saving technique for growing. We're going to be growing vertically. And to do that, we're going to be building beds out of gutters. Now, the great thing about gutters is that they're actually easily accessible. You can get them at just about any hardware store. The great thing about gutters is they're easily accessible and they don't take up much space. Now today we're going to be looking at using the vinyl gutters instead of aluminum. Reason is that the vinyl is going to hold up much better to the soil being involved, and you're also not going to really cut yourself. The aluminum can be pretty sharp, and since we're going to be in these beds quite a bit, you definitely want it to be as safe as possible. So we're using vinyl gutters. It's going to be pretty easy. You just need the gutter, you need some 2x4s, and some screws, and there's also a bunch of little pieces that go with the gutter on the ends and the brackets to hold it up, but it's going to be fairly simple. I don't expect it to take much time. I know I didn't expect the raised beds to take much time either, but we'll see how it goes. But the way that we're going to be doing this is the gutters come in 10-foot sections. And I am just going to cut that in half. I only need 5-foot sections because I'm going to be mounting these to a fence. That's how I'm going to be growing vertically and saving space. I'm going to be using 5-foot sections of gutter. So I'm just going to be cutting these 10-foot sections in half and then mounting them to the fence. It's super easy. Not a lot is involved. Essentially, I'm going to be cutting the 2x4s, screwing those into the fence, and then mounting the brackets onto those 2x4s, and the gutters just snap into place. Super easy. I'll leave a link to the video that I got this idea. It was actually on a Lowe's. It was on the Lowe's YouTube channel. It was a great idea. I modified it a little bit for myself because it seemed like it was a little bit more than what I needed. But you'll see how they're very similar. So these are going to be super easy to build. We'll just get them cut, put them together, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So stick around, guys. Let's go ahead and head outside. All right, guys. Well, here we are in my garage. I got everything set up. I've got my gutters, and I've also got my 2x4s. Each of them are 10 foot long, and I need them to be in 5-foot sections, so I really only have to cut them in half. So 1 cut per. And that's about it. And all I have to do is put it together. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get started with that. I'm going to measure them out, make sure that they are exactly 5 foot, get them cut, and then we'll move on to the backyard. Honestly, because I'm not making an exact frame, I don't need these to be perfectly 5 foot each. Now, if you need to build a frame because you don't have a wood fence to attach this to, then you may want to go ahead and make sure that these cuts are exact and build a square frame out of it first. These are just going to be vertical supports, so so that I don't have to attach these directly to the fence because there's not enough 2x4s going across horizontally for me to have enough of my gutters attached to it. So that's what these are really for. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the rest of the 2x4s in half, and that's it. Alright guys, now I've got my 2x4s cut to the right size, so all we have to do is cut the gutters now. So I'm going to be using the same saw, and I'm going to be using the same blade. Now I do have a PVC saw blade as well, but I've used it before. As you can see in the back, I've got a couple of projects that I have back there that I'm working on, and we'll do those in another video. But I've tried using it before and it just does not work as well as I would hope. It seems to take too long to cut through it, and it tends to burn the material and melt it instead of cutting it. So I'm going to use just the regular general saw blade and cut straight through this. Alright, well let's get to it. So I'm going to use the same method that I used before, and that's just measuring it out, mark it, and cut straight through it. Alright, one suggestion I have for cutting these is do not take your time cutting through them. Just go straight for it, cut through it. The longer you take, the more likely you're going to get caught up in it and start breaking it. So one thing that I do to try to keep my tape measure down is I put a little nail through the tip here, and that way it is able to grab onto that edge. Alright, so this time I didn't push it all the way through, which was a mistake on my part. Now if this happens to you, it's a pretty easy fix. Couple ways you could go about it. You can get you a box cutter. That should be able to cut straight through it. You could also use just a regular handsaw to try to go through it. I definitely would not recommend trying to have this blade pass back through it. You're more likely going to tear it up. But yeah, just in case, box cutter always comes in handy. Another quick, easy way to have done that would have been to use like a pair of cutters. Not scissors, but maybe like a pair of wire cutters, like a pair of dikes. Anything of that nature is going to make it a little bit easier. Man, this is not the best tape measure. Guys, well here we are. You can see I've got my drill ready. I'm going to be drilling some holes in these just for drainage. If we come over here, I'm going to show you what you're going to need also next. So I've got some deck screws. These are going to be, I thought they were supposed to be, yeah, those are 2 inches, and I've got 3 inches. These are the end pieces for the gutters, so that your dirt's not falling out. And then these are the brackets to hold it up. But what I'm going to do is start applying these end pieces here for the ends, and that way I know where to drill the holes. I'm only going to be drilling holes on one side, and then we're going to mount these at an angle so it always drips downward. But stay tuned, we're going to go ahead and get started. Now these holes don't need to be perfectly spaced or anything, it's just for drainage. Again, we're only doing it on one side of each of these, but we're gonna go ahead and get all of them put together and the holes drilled. Alright guys, well we're all done with that part. I've got all the holes drilled, I've got them put together. Now I need to move to the backyard to go ahead and start mounting the 2x4s, and then I can mount the brackets to the 2x4s. So let's head on back to the backyard. Alright guys, well here we are in the backyard. This is the fence that I've chosen to put these up on. I'm going to be doing it on 3 sections of the fence. This is just the first section that we're going to be working on and filming. My new camera can't really stand the heat. It is a black camera. This is Texas. It's really hot out here. But for filming for long periods of time, it's just not going to be able to. So I'm going to do this first section, show you how to put it up. Then I'm going to replicate it for the other 2 sections, and then I'll show you at the end. So I'm just going to film the first section. You'll have to see it you'll have to stay towards the end just so you can see what the finished product looks like. All right, let's go. So of course I got my 2x4s, and I've cut them at 5 foot so that I can attach it to each one of the horizontal 2x4s, and these are going to be the frame for mounting. Now I do want to go ahead and measure. I know I need about 5 foot, so what I can do is just hold this up, center it, and that can tell me exactly where I want it to be. That's actually pretty good. So again, can hold this up exactly where I want it to be on the frame, and then essentially I'm just going to mark it from there of where the 2x4 should be for holding this thing up. Now I don't want it at the very ends. I want it to give it a little bit of room. And so I'm just marking the fence right in the center of where I want the 2x4s to be. So you can see there, I just line up the center, attach it, and it's good to go. So now I need to start attaching 2x4s. I've got these 10x3s. Had to run off and get my little level. So what I'm going to do is attach one first. That's just to make sure that it's mounted up. Take my level. And just make sure that it's straight. And from there, go ahead and mount the net. Now you could just mount it this way, one screw each, but I'm gonna go ahead and put 2 screws into each 2x4. Just to be safe. These are gonna be filled with dirt, so there's gonna be a little bit of weight on them. Just one at the bottom for good measure. So that's not going anywhere. Level. Alright, so I got 2 more 2x4s to mount. Alright, so now I've got the 3 2x4s mounted to the fence. Next step is to go ahead and place the brackets. For the brackets, I'm going to be switching to the 2-inch screws because I don't need it to go all the way through. I just need it to go into, okay, these are 2.5 inch. So they might be a little bit too long, but that's okay. There's not going to be anything back here to get, or anybody back behind this to get stabbed. But you'll see that each of these, they only have 1 hole for mounting, so it's going to make it pretty easy to swivel. But what you'll want to do in the case of mounting these is you want to make one side slightly lower than the rest of them. It can be like a step down, so you'll have one slightly lower, one slightly higher, and one slightly higher. Alright, so you can see I've got the first brackets mounted. All I've got to do is take my gutter, snap it into place. And there we have it. You can see that it's slightly at an angle. Again, this is for the drainage so that all the water will travel down to the holes and will drip out at the end. So I'm going to do this 1, 2, 3 more times, and then we'll be done with this section of the fence. Alright guys, well there you have it. So I've got 4 gutter beds per this section. I'm going to do this 2 more times down the line. I'm going to go ahead and stop filming now so I can charge my battery and get the camera out of the sun for a little bit. Probably going to go put on a hat as well. It's a little hot out here. But this is it. I mean, pretty simple. All I've got to do is fill that up with some soil now. You guys have already seen my soil video, and if you haven't, go check that out. I'll also leave a link in the description. But that's it. You guys are all set. Try to build one yourself and enjoy. I'll see you back at the end once I'm done with the rest of it, and I'll show you how it all looks. Alright guys, here we are, all finished. As you can see, I've got them up. I've already gone ahead and put dirt in all of them, so these are ready for planting. But you can see in the distance here, I've got all of them set up, and they are ready for growing whatever I need. I plan to grow different types of lettuces in these. I've got some kale growing out front, some kale and cabbage, and then these will be specific for lettuce. So I'm gonna have lots of greens for growing and eating. But that is it for today. If you like this project, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Grow healthy, my friends.